Hi, I have the great opportunity today to visit with Karen Willmott, and she is one of the directors at the Turn Community Services Program in Cedar City, Utah. And we're excited to visit with her about her program and how she's using the tappers. So, welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell me just a little bit about your program and
Sure,
your role in that?
sure. Turn Community Services is a nonprofit organization that assists mostly adults, but some children with developmental disabilities
Okay.
to have services based on what needs they have. So we have several different things that we provide, including residential care, day programs, supported employment, family support. So quite a big
It's like the
area.
continuum, huh?
Yeah. Each person with a disability has different needs. And so we focus our supports to be individualized um, to help families and individuals to be successful in life.
That's amazing and wonderful. And how long have you been working with this organization?
I have been with Turn for 24 years now.
So
A
your whole
long time.
career.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's wonderful. And I just want to ask you, so I know that your program uses the tappers, and I just want to ask you just maybe to just give some examples of different situations that you would use them, just so that we can get a better understanding.
Absolutely. So we use them for a multitude of reasons, but some of the things that I've noticed that have been super helpful are for a few people who um, can have the tendency to escalate with problematic behaviors. So that can look like, throwing things,
Mm.
hitting people, hitting themselves, uh, things that can be challenging. And so we offer for them to wear, and we actually call them the bracelets because it just
I
is
like that.
for them. They get excited that, oh, I get to wear the bracelets today, but we'll
Very
have
nice.
them wear those and it helps them to calm down. It's not immediate. It takes a couple of minutes,
Sure.
but it sure helps them to get back to a regulated system and where they're calm. And the nicest part is if we actually recognize some of those signs that we know they're upset and have them wear the bracelets before they
Good.
escalate, it avoids the whole situation.
Wow. So you actually train your therapist to look. So as a mental health therapist, I'd call that like sympathetic activation. So as soon as so they just know whether someone's starting what to get irritable or
Yeah,
rigid in their thinking, things like that.
yeah. And we train our staff to watch for those things, right?
Yes.
The more successful you are at avoiding um, problematic situations, the better off their life is. And so,
And your staff
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Just because
makes everyone's day
it's
better.
stressful on us, as whether therapists, just as providers, staff, it's just stressful. So I think that's wonderful.
Is yeah. Another way that we have used them is we have somebody who really struggles with pain.
Okay.
He actually has encephalitis and he's actually blind as well.
Mm.
And so he can't always tell us that he's what he's feeling or experiencing, but we do know that he experiences quite a bit of pain. And so we actually have him wear those regularly,
Wow. Good.
just to help him to regulate himself as well in what he's experiencing.
Well, and the thing I like about that too is just that it's like a non-pharmaceutical intervention.
Hmm.
And I think that's a big deal too. And
Oh,
so,
absolutely, yeah.
yeah. Well,
So
and then do you have, in your personal life, any other examples that you'd want to share how you're using them?
sure. I have a daughter. She's an adult now, but she has struggled her whole life with hearing loss.
Okay.
She's not deaf, but she needs hearing aids. But the having hearing loss caused a lot of anxiety for her growing up,
Mm.
not being able to hear everything going on or having too much stimulation from too much noise. And so she's been able to use them to help her focus and to deal with some of the anxiety she experienced during school. And she was actually provided a pair to use at school if needed and when needed, which was very helpful for her.
So she learned about it through, I guess, the school counselor.
Yes,
Yeah. And then was able to check them out when she needed to.
yes.
I love that. Yeah, that's what I would hope is that honestly that all schools would just have access to that resource and um then she was able to check them out but then actually go back to class, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, see
Yeah.
that I totally am a fan of the wellness rooms and everything, but in the end we want them to recover quickly to be back in the classroom learning. And so that's one of the things that I like about this resource is they can take them into the classroom and use them while they're in the class. It's not something they have to leave the class to do. They can be right there and get that regulation in real time, and I love that. So I love that she used them. I love that her school has them. I think that's
Yes.
wonderful.
And I was just thinking back and I just had a memory of the first time we were introduced to something for that was she was probably 12 years old and asked to give a talk in church. And she was very, very nervous. And her young women leader is also a therapist and knew about and had just happened to have something with her to put in her pockets that she did
Good.
at church that day that helped her get through that moment.
Wonderful. See,
So,
that's the thing is I'm smiling just because dysregulation happens anywhere for any of us really at different times. And so that's really great. So she was able
yeah,
to get through that.
yeah.
Good.
Without like, I wasn't sure she was going to be able to give the talk. She was so anxious.
Aw,
So,
aw. Well, and then that's successful for her to be able to do that. And then hopefully it gives her more confidence in the future that she can do things like that.
yes.
Yeah. And then you were also talking before we started the recording about your other daughter.
Yeah. So my older daughter has no problems with anxiety or depression. She's happy and lives a great and successful life, but she has moments
Yeah.
where she gets stressed out. And
Like all
so,
of us, right?
right, we all do.
Yeah.
And so I've recommended her to use the tappers just to help her get through her stressful moments. And I know that she has done that multiple times.
And what does she report?
She says it does help her calm down. She does like to have them in her pockets where
Hmm.
they're not seen. I know that, and but it does help her to have that clarity, and it helps her to regulate herself.
Well, and I mean, some people really, because it just has to be on each side of your body. So some people really like them on their wrist, whether it's on the top or where you take a pulse.
Hmm.
Myself, when I use them during the day for focus, for whatever reason, I'd rather have them in my socks, like above the inside of my ankles. And that just gentle tapping just dials in my focus so well. But if I'm presenting, um, then I actually shift them to my pockets. And so it just doesn't matter, and some people like to hold them. So it really doesn't matter where they are as long as they're on both sides. So she found that she likes them in her pockets. And I think that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping just over time we can just check in with you again and just see, just how they're
absolutely.
continue to work in your program. But I am so grateful that your kids know about them, that your family does. And then obviously the community you work with. Because you just don't know when people are going to get upset or dysregulate, and to be able to have something right then to work. And I just tell all providers that we work with just that it's not that we think other coping skills don't work. It's just sometimes you need something first to dial it down. And then once they're in that more workable range, then they'll, follow directions or remember other skills they've been taught. And then you can, use those too. But this is a first kind of that first intervention. And then for some people, they just continue to use it, like the gentleman you said that's blind, because it just works for him. And I just love that you know all of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So
And
thank you.
I love because they can't always tell you what's wrong.
Mm.
That this has been really helpful for those who can't verbalize it too.
But you can see that they're distressed.
Yes.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. Well,
So
Karen, I just want to thank you again just for taking the time to visit with me today. I appreciate it so
yeah,
much.
it's glad to do it. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you.